Hello friends, in this video we will discuss very basic points about plasma membrane or cell membrane. As we know that every cell, whether it is a prokaryotic cell or a eukaryotic cell, it has plasma membrane or cell membrane. Or we can say that plasma membrane is the absolute requirement for all the living organisms. After the invention of electron microscope in 1950s, when cell was studied under the microscope, a layer has been seen on the surface of the cell. That layer is plasma membrane. RBC or the red blood cell was the first cell on which plasma membrane was studied. Plasma membrane is selectively permeable membrane and its main function is to monitor the transport of material entering and exiting the cell and the protection of cell. Now let's discuss the composition of plasma membrane. Plasma membrane is made up of phospholipid protein and a very small amount of carbohydrate and cholesterol. The phospholipids form a bilayer. You can see in the diagram. First layer is this and second layer is this. Okay, between which the protein is embedded. This one is protein. Okay. Most carbohydrates in the membrane are glycoproteins. The phospholipids arrange themselves into a double layer with hydrophilic heads on the outside and hydrophobic tails on inside. The proteins in the plasma membrane are of two types. First one is intrinsic protein and the second one is extrinsic protein. The intrinsic and extrinsic proteins are embedded between the lipids that make up the membrane, and these transmembrane proteins allow molecules that couldn't enter the cells otherwise to pass through by forming channel, pore or gates. Carbohydrates are also found in the plasma membrane. Specifically, most carbohydrates in the membrane are part of glycoprotein. There are several or different type of models which describe the structure of plasma membrane, but the fluid mosaic model is most accepted model that describe the structure of plasma membrane. The fluid mosaic model was given by Sanger and Nicholson in 1972. It explained various observations regarding the structure of plasma membrane. According to this, there is a lipid layer. You can see here, first one is this and second one is this. Two lipid layer. That's why we call it as bilayer. Okay, in which protein molecules are embedded. You can see here, this one is protein, this one is protein. The lipid layer provides elasticity and fluidity to the membrane. The structure designed by Sanger and Nicholson described the cell membrane as two-dimensional liquid that restrict the lateral diffusion of membrane component. Such domains are defined by existence of region within the membrane with special lipid and protein cocoon that promote the formation of lipid raft or protein and glycoprotein complex. Another way to define membrane domain is association of lipid membrane with the cytoskeleton, filaments and extracellular matrix through membrane protein. The fluid property of functional biological membrane has been determined through labeling experiment X-ray diffraction, and calorimetry. Now let's discuss the transport through plasma membrane. There are two types of transport which occur through the plasma membrane. First is simple diffusion and second is facilitate diffusion. Now first understand what is diffusion. Diffusion is the movement of molecules from a higher concentration to a region of lower concentration down the concentration gradient. Now, what is simple diffusion? Simple diffusion is when the molecule move from higher concentration to lower concentration without expending any energy. It is simple diffusion and it come under passive diffusion. While facilitate diffusion is when the molecules move against the concentration gradient, that is from lower concentration to higher concentration with the help of energy and surface protein. Okay, and it comes under active transport, right? Now let's discuss the function of plasma membrane. The main function of plasma membrane is it surrounds all the cell and physically separates the cytoplasm, which is the material that make up the cells. The plasma membrane provides structural support to the cells, and plasma membranes are selectively permeable, or we can say that plasma membrane is semi-permeable. It means it allows only certain molecule can pass through them. In this way, the membrane can control the rate at which certain molecule can enter and exit the cell. The plasma membrane play a very important role in endocytosis and exocytosis. Another important function of the plasma membrane is to facilitate communication and signaling between the cells. It does so through the use of various protein and carbohydrate in the membrane. Thank you.